All right, good morning, guys. Here. So another week getting ready to start, and futures here were pretty volatile last night. We had a pretty good gap down. Actually, well, it was a kind of a weak gap down, and then we ended up testing. We got back to 68.70, which is right around that low pivot there from Friday that we retested multiple times. So we had the breakout there, nice little broadening channel, by the way. Retest, and then higher low, and we were able to close at the highs. And from a technical standpoint, closing at the highs on Friday did a lot here because this retest was kind of in a straight line, and eventually you're just going to get kind of like oversold here if you don't bounce. Which, again, right now, Bear's job today would be to put in some sort of lower high here, and again, closing at the highs of the day, retesting this twice makes that a lot harder to do. In the overnight, we did have some selling, obviously. And again, we're not really getting these, it's not like it used to be where we would get a headline and we would sell on the headline. We're just selling on nothing. And then people are coming up with the narrative afterward. So again, it's more like Iran, fears like that, constantly, just constantly. I pointed this out as well. Last night, oil futures gapped down. I can't imagine we're about to have World War III with oil up 30 cents. There was more chatter about a deal as well. We talked about that, but right now, big levels that we're watching here. By the way, I just called this out about 15 minutes ago in the trading room. We're in the money now on a trade here with ES. But again, the big point of control is 68.95, and we went down there, back tested 88, beautiful level, sweep, acceptance, and a nice pop there. So. Nice little gain for us to start the week out. Again, if you have not done so already, go check it out. We got 60% off active trader, 30% off swing trades. We do this all freaking day long. But in any case, a little bit of a bounce here. And in the big picture right now, to me, Bears, you have to do something today. I don't care about like, oh, well, it's, NVIDIA is coming up. No. I don't want to hear it about NVIDIA. I want it today. You need to break 675 SPY and close below it today. We've seen this many times before. OPEX, you make a new high on expiration right there, and it does not take long, right? There's no delay, right? We have no shortage of catalysts here. I think, you sell today, you close below these lows, yeah, we can bounce on NVIDIA and then they can just sell into that. But I need to see this aggression here. Where's the sellers? You've got all these bear headlines coming out. Where's the aggression? Where's the sellers at? And I don't want to hear it about like, oh, it needs to wait until, no. It doesn't need to wait until NVIDIA. You just take, when the trend changes, it just changes. They're not going to wait for news to do that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I do think the clock is ticking. Like it has to, these windows here are small, right? It's very hard for markets to go down, in case you haven't noticed, just historically, right? And things have to be lined up perfectly for that to happen. And they did a very good job lining it up last week. I think the ball was dropped a little bit on Friday. But we'll see what we get here. So, maybe they knock it down after this. I talked about 685 SPY last night in the dealer video and the Sunday night video. We got down, effectively. Oh, this isn't going to show it, but we effectively got down there. Actually, I think we got a little bit lower than that. But it's getting defended here. And, we'll just leave it at that for now. Like I said, for Thursday, not a lot of left tail hedges. For Friday, there are some. Obviously, 690 SPY is going to be a big level for the market to have to clear. And again, 610 QQQ, if it can clear that and establish it as support, some way, somehow, like that will put us much, much, much more into a positive gamma environment. So those are the big levels that we're really looking at all week. But for today, that 68.95, that's been an ATM machine, and it's paying out currently right now as we're letting this ride a little bit. Probably right back up to 05, 010 here before I take profit on my leg here. But we'll see what we get. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah, markets can correct sideways. Yeah, yeah. Elevator down, escalator up 70%. It's really all it is. Like it's at 70 to 75%. The market's green. You know, it takes a lot. The markets don't need a reason to go up. They need a reason to go down. You know, people complain all the time. The market is rigged. Yeah, like you think, and you know that's why you gotta. If you're gonna fight it, you're fighting the powers that be, and you gotta fight it. You gotta pick the exact spot. So, I mean, I'm open to the idea. This is technically the window of weakness, but it should be going now. You had a good sell here. You let all this back though. And I was watching it overnight too. And I was like, wow, they're going to actually go down and test 68.45, aren't they? Because we weren't even back. I mean, look at 68.95. No bounce. Usually when you see that, I know how ES trades. Usually when you see that, it means it's got a destination. But yeah, they let it up. And guess what? Guess when it came up? It was right, well, actually it was before London. London actually bid the market though, and usually it hasn't been doing that lately. We'll see, Dave. I'm just telling you, like the longer that this doesn't do anything, the worse it is for bears. That's kind of my thought here. So maybe they can break it down, but the longer it goes sideways, the worse it is. Like the path of least resistance over time is just higher. And I've kind of mentioned this recently. I don't think this market has any preparation for a massive right tail event. I don't see anybody caught. Everybody's cautious, like even the bulls are cautious. I don't see anybody that's like, yeah, NQ could go up, 1,000 points here in the week or two. I don't see anybody like that thinks 26,000 is possible this week. I do, but that's just kind of how that's kind of how I'm noticing things. Keep an eye on software, obviously, IGV. We got Salesforce earnings this week as well, and Microsoft will obviously be a big tell. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a lot like bungee jumping here. In a really big range, relatively speaking. By the way, speaking of range, big ranges here, really quick. Point this out. I'll flip over to my other. So I know I've showed this like 1,000 times, but the weekly Bollinger Band width here on NQ, and it's like this on ES too. The last time it was this tight, 6.45. That was in 2015. On ES here as well. 5.41. It was a 3.43. So when you get these rate, and I've said it also recently, like we've been in this range long enough now, it's not going to break clean, right? If you go back and look at 2015, like we're doing right now, like it had to stay in the range just to break out of it. And what I mean by that is it had to expand the range by staying in the larger range. So you got a small range right here, right? Kind of like a larger range, below that, and then you've got like this bigger zone, right? So it broke out of these ones, went down here, right? But this happened in like 3 days, right? 3 or 4 days, and ended up being liquidity grab. They did it again, and they did it again, right? So it's not going to be clean, and it's going to hurt a lot of people when this finally moves. It's probably going to take multiple tries. So be careful out there. Anyway, we'll see what we get here today. Again, 685 should be supportive. If we start to inch up, we can see 690 again, another run at 690. I think we closed red today, though. We'll see. Post-OPEX week, the first Mondays usually kind of tells the opposite direction of the remainder of the week. But, we'll see. Again, levels 6895, 88, 76, the ATM machine, the OG ATM machine. And then, of course, the futures gap fill up there at 25. And full back test all the way up at 55, but I don't think we quite get there today. So anyway, we'll see what we get here. Coming to 9 o'clock, market opening in about 20 minutes, or 30 minutes rather. But you guys take care. Have a good one. Don't forget to come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Subscribe to Gamma Boy Trades too. We will cover the PM levels later in the market wrap up. But anyways, you guys take care. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow.